Kathryn Wilson, thank you very much.
Cool, nice to meet you.
You too. Oomph is all about inspiring people to achieve extraordinary things. So who and what during your life and career has inspired you?
Oh, so many. I mean, I'm 11 years now into the business, but along the journey of from being a student, lecturers and people that guest lectured and came and helped and remembered me and initially helped me apply for scholarships and things right from the very beginning. There's been people all the way along my journey that have been a big part of my growth. Definitely people that still check in annually and people from the very beginning that have been of help to me, and especially as things get bigger they have a network of people that they can introduce you to.
Yeah.
So as my problems get scarier,
Yeah.
there's incredible support from so many people.
Okay.
And often I think that's the best thing ever to be in New Zealand and being in business, to put your hand up.
Yeah, so you can always go back to those original people and get some advice and so on.
Yeah, absolutely. And then they will have contacts, and often it's not something that they might be specialised in, but they will have a friend or some advice to put you in the right direction.
Yeah. So has networking been quite an important part of business for you?
I think so, absolutely. I think especially being a young woman in business and having the confidence to kind of make some big decisions and have other women in business just nurture you all the way through. Roseanne Mayo and Julie Christie and Sarah Tetro, women that have kind of shown me the road by being strong, brave women themselves.
Yep. Awesome, fantastic. So it was 2003 and you were 23 when Kathryn Wilson brand started. So did you always aspire to starting a footwear brand?
Yes, I really was obsessed with shoes, and I loved shoes as a little one. I grew up in the 80s, so I had Kung Fu's and Commando M's that I used to customise. But my first job after school was at a shoe store, which I loved, and I guess I became obsessed with the technology. Like, it was quite a technical trade, and you can't study it in New Zealand, so I was really challenged to pursue it because it wasn't the easy path. And the more I found out about that, the more challenged I was to go down that track. And also I found there was an opportunity at the time, early 2000s, there was a good name for New Zealand fashion in the industry, like globally, but no one was really doing innovative footwear. So I remember thinking there was a gap in the market. If I do it now and do it quickly, that I can snap it up and be part of a New Zealand name of shoes.
Yeah, and having studied a Bachelor of Design at Massey University and some papers at AUT as well as, a year-long course at AUT was it? And some papers overseas in England, they were specifically relating to shoe design, is that right?
Yeah, I ended up, because you can't study shoes in New Zealand,
Yeah.
I ended up doing a Bachelor of Design majoring in fashion at Massey, which is Wellington. And the year before I did a certificate in fashion at Auckland, because I left school at sixth form and Mum said, you're not leaving school unless you're going into tertiary.
Yeah.
And I, all right then, well I'll go and do fashion because you can't study shoes. So I did work experience with Karen Walker one day a week, and used to get the train in from Papakura at 6 in the morning and spend a day there, but then have AUT was like a grounding course to set me up to be able to go into the degree program without having bursary.
Yeah.
So it wasn't until my second year at Massey I won a scholarship to study in England at Nottingham Trent University.
Okay.
And that was when I was able to take footwear specific papers, because unfortunately in New Zealand you can't. So I was so excited. Trend prediction and spatial design and product packaging design and things that I was like a kid in a candy store.
Yeah.
It was pretty exciting.
So do you, all the stuff you learned back in those papers, do you use today in your own business?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think it was the scale. When I was over there, I was 22. No, not even that, 20. And I remember just being astounded at the scale of the industry, and it probably opened my eyes to the possibility of building a career in design and in footwear in particular. I remember thinking, well, maybe I could, because it's such a big world out there and there's such a big industry. I think you do always relate to things you've learnt. We had guest lecturers who were currently designing for Topshop, and brands at that time where I thought, wow, it's so cool to listen to trend prediction, right from the horse's mouth. So I think you never forget those experiences, and there's always things you pull from.
Yeah, and you talk about trend prediction. That must be quite a big part of it in a fashion business. What's behind that? Is it about looking at what people start doing, or is there a formula that you use?
Yeah, well, when you study it, it's bizarre. I was like, really? There's 5 people sitting in a room in Paris that decide colour palettes 5 years ahead for car paints, and it's really quite technical when it's a trickle down, I guess, theory where there's palettes that are made that are sold on to interior design companies, car companies, and eventually it comes down to fashion. But you can buy these packages if you're so inclined to tell you what the colour palettes will be, and textures and fabrics and trends that are happening globally. and they're usually about 2 years ahead. So with New Zealand design, and our company in particular, we're designing a year ahead. We're always 12 months out of the market.
Yep.
So it's quite important to be aware what other brands are, where they're heading colour-wise or silhouette, but obviously not doing what they're doing, because you always have to have an innovative product.
Yeah, true. Okay, so people wanting to get into the fashion industry, would you recommend doing some study? Is that quite a big part of it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, of course, it's always going to help. If you're a strong illustrator, there's always the benefit of having some marketing papers behind you, or some business understanding of business, or economy papers. I mean, you can't go wrong with the more information you have in any situation. I think I'm all about education, because I think it makes you a braver, more worldly person. Nothing better than having experience on the job as well. Is very much an important balance, because you learn a lot quicker. You learn the hard way a lot quicker when it's real life situations you're dealing with instead of textbook. But I think the grounding of a textbook education is super important. Yeah,
awesome. And what about getting financial backing for ideas and so on? How did you go about that in the early days? Was that quite challenging?
Yeah, it is. But I think if you have a vision and you show passion and you stand out, people will be more willing to listen. Or there's often opportunities that come with the hard work and the research at the beginning that you prove yourself. Obviously, financial investors are everywhere. They're just probably, again, it's a networking thing and an opportunity if you do either fill a gap for someone, or they're looking at a particular field and you are that person. There's a lot of angel investors in New Zealand. Corporations where they're looking to expand and diversify, and you might fill that gap. For me personally, it was a situation where I was already working for a company, and then really they didn't want me to leave designing for them, and dangled a carrot saying, if you stay with us, how about we help finance your own shoe brand? So I did that, and I ended up staying with Caroline Sills for 8 years designing their collections.
Great. And were they an investor as such, or did they more fund what you were doing?
They funded the initial season, which was an outlay of cash to get the first samples made and put the range into production. So I guess it's more of a cash flow situation where similar to a bank, but it's privately funded. Yeah, and they must be pretty proud now of 12,000 pairs sold a year inside. Yeah, well, definitely. I mean, it's a cool journey to go on regardless. We have a 50% shareholder who's a 70-year-old accountant. Oh, great. So it's quite a good balance, because I'm all ideas and opportunity and fun, and he's always pulling me in with the sensible reins of an accountant. Great. And what's it like with having 15 staff now? Do you enjoy staff management and interacting with people and so on? It's a massive part of it, and I think that's only become more relevant when we opened our own retail stores as well. And the HR side is a whole job in itself. To have your own retail stores, is probably the biggest part of that is the staff that represent your brand and are front-facing your name in the public eye. So all of that, the training, the values, the making sure that you're the way that I want to communicate the brand to customers is passed on to them, because they're, at the end of the day, the voice of your brand to the public. Yeah. So it's a big learning curve for us over the last 3 or 4 years, but a really important part of our growth, and sharing our vision with the team, so that it's definitely, we're all on the same track, and we're all looking forward to the future. Absolutely. And it now being one of the fastest growing fashion brands in New Zealand, with 100 stores in the world stocking your shoes, does that excite you as to what you can achieve globally? Yeah, absolutely. I think definitely. I mean, in New Zealand business, there's no reason why you're a New Zealand based company that can't have a global presence. I think that obviously the world's becoming smaller in the sense of the internet and e-commerce and travel and Skype, and so we're able to communicate so easily. A lot of our manufacturing is everything's offshore, but we have 7 different countries at the moment that manufacture our shoes. So we're often in different time zones, and English is a second language every day, and so we just learn to deal with it that way. The opportunity for global growth is of course endless, because especially online, and having a really strong presence there and a growth strategy online. It's really exciting to think we've got all these expats of New Zealanders and Australians living in New York, or living in London, or living in Hong Kong, and all wearing our product. Yeah, awesome. So it's really cool. So globally, what's your dream still to come? Oh, well, I mean, it's forever changing, because there's so much opportunity. I'd love to have retail presence in the Northern Hemisphere. I'd love to have something in the States. Asia for us has probably been our first kind of point of call because it's Southern Hemisphere in terms of we can sell the same collection without having to go a summer, winter at the same time.
True.
But in saying that, and we probably find them quite innovative in their style and the way that they dress in Japan and in China and Singapore and Hong Kong, and so it's been it's also a 12-hour flight that you can whip up there back and forth. But definitely, having our own retail presence offshore would be really exciting.
Yeah. So by retail presence, do you mean your own branded stores?
Yeah, I mean that's the ultimate, because then you can control the way that your messaging is, portrayed to the public, but also the music you play, the staff that are in the store, the candle burning. You can show your whole collection and all the colourways, and it's often the ultimate compliment for any designer to have their own retail presence, or like a concession store within that department store or something.
Yeah, so. Absolutely. And is that continuous improvement and innovation quite important with your new brand here, Miss Wilson, in 2011? What was it all about in terms of branching out there?
Yeah, well, that was actually a commercial decision that all Kathryn Wilson shoes from the beginning, the philosophy of that brand was limited edition shoes and shoes that not everyone was wearing. So I was 22 as a student and wanted to wear something that was a bit different and that not everyone else had. So when we started designing, it was with that in mind, and it still is 11 years on. So Miss Wilson had to fill a gap, more of a mass market level where we were able to sell more shoes.
Yeah. Okay.
Because my accountant business partner was like, it's all well and good having limited edition shoes, but when are we going to start making some money?
Yeah.
So Miss Wilson has really proven to be a commercial success, and it's a lot more on trend, and the styles are kind of faster fashion.
Yeah, awesome. And you say you've done quite a bit of talking with the likes of Karen Walker and Julie Christie about sort of advisory boards and so on. Have other, I guess, women, as you said before, in the fashion industry been really helpful in giving advice and so on? So how did you go about actually reaching out to these people in the first place?
Well, I think at the end of the day, it's a privilege in New Zealand that we are all accessible. Like, we're either, they talk about 7 steps of separation, it's not at all, that's probably more 1 or 2.
Yeah.
And that's the joy of, being in business, and in New Zealand we can encourage others easily. You are more probably able to talk to the Prime Minister if you really wanted to. And so people within my industry, sure, they've been super supportive, and I really am just not afraid of putting your hand up to ask, because often they've learnt a lot the hard way before you, and you can there's always shortcuts on things you could be doing better and stronger and faster, because they've learnt the hard way how to do it. Often I think, of course everyone's busy, so you have to be respectful of that, but they, really clever, awesome people are often quite flattered to be asked, because they're so at the top of their game. People are all, but sometimes if you just say, can I buy you coffee for 20 minutes, and I promise it's 20 minutes, they might hear you out. Yeah,
and you might get an hour, you never know.
Yeah, or even just, you never know what comes up in those conversations, and the way of, it's more of you tell where you're at and have a clear vision of what you want to get out of the conversation. They might go away and think about it, and a week later email you and say, I was thinking about this, and the situation you're in is similar to this. And
awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, and when you look over your whole career, from having won awards such as Best Shoe of the Year, Best Shoe Designer, Sir Peter Blake Award, Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year finalist, what are you most proud of today?
Oh, Beyonce getting a pair of shoes.
Yeah. Did she actually buy a pair? Or did someone give her a pair?
Sony,
Awesome.
So her recording agency, artist, and it was so cool, because really awesome, we base our brand vision on who is Kathryn Wilson as if she was a person, as the brand, what does she do, and what does she represent, and we had meetings with our advisory board about how it represents success and power, and you put the shoes on and you feel like you can own the world, and you walk taller and you're brave, and that was all about who is she. And it's like, well, she's Beyonce, she's supportive and she's encouraging to other women, and she's successful, but she's homely. And so when she was coming to New Zealand, I was so obsessed with how am I going to get shoes in front of her.
Yeah.
So it was an absolute compliment to have that come about through Sony, and a wonderful woman, Taryn, that helped that happen. But also her stylist that came out with her, I met, and he was excited about the men's, so we sent some to him, and the little Miss Wilsons for their baby blue.
Yeah.
Jay-Z posted a photo on Instagram of her wearing them backstage at the Grammys, and it's like 7 million followers. You know, that's
How
so cool.
Is that? Absolutely.
For me, it's the little highlights of. I mean, obviously, awards are so humbling, and you feel really. It's so awesome to be acknowledged. But it's often the little highlights of, and career-wise, or milestones that are usually a team celebration. We were all like high-fiving each other, and can't believe that our muse of the brand is posting photos on her Instagram.
That's
so
amazing.
cool.
Yeah, and is that celebrity market quite a big market in the way? If you can get people like Beyonce and stuff wearing your shoes, then I presume the whole world follows in terms of styles and so on.
Oh, absolutely. It's probably more the exposure, especially with social media. At the moment, it's so easy to talk to a lot of people through the right avenues, and there's nothing better than having endorsement from someone that you respect and love, let alone like someone that's in the movies. So it does tell a lot about the brand, positioning and globally who's aware of your brand. That makes other people sit up. Yeah,
and you said before in the early days you're spending about one night a month at home. Has business for you been really hard work?
Yeah. I don't think it was even one. I mean, I ended up, when I was designing the clothing as well as the shoes, I did that for 8 years and ended up saying to them, I've got to do one or the other because I'm here till 4 a.m. And they were like, well, that was a long time coming. We thought you'd say that years ago. So I think it was like a compromise at the time when I was 26, 28, 30, that I didn't even give it a thought because I loved the growth so much and the excitement and like thinking about it as a career milestone. It never ends, and now that I'm 34, pregnant, and thinking like, the future of how you balance that work-life balance, because it's not often I have a night at home, regardless, even if it's not in the office, you're at an event or you're at, with brand partners or,
So in the early days, if you were working till 4 a.m, did you get much sleep at all, or just sleep for a few hours then come back the next morning?
Yeah. I never even think about it as work because I loved it so much. Like, I was so excited. I was drawing shoes.
Yeah.
So if I was here, it wasn't the end of the world. I'll come in at 10 instead of 8 or something. But it doesn't really kill you because you're doing something that's so fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Awesome. So what would your top 3 bits of advice be for people wanting to get into the fashion industry?
Well, I think in New Zealand we're so lucky in the sense that everything's on our side. Politically, economically, we've got in a situation where there's so much support out there that you just may as well go for it. What's the worst that can happen? And if you have this vision or a dream in design in particular, in fashion, there's so much support that's in our infrastructure. And a healthy industry. We're considered quite well renowned in design globally. So you've got a platform there that's already built, to start making a name for yourself. I think I would just encourage definitely the tertiary study and to have some work experience along the way so that you can pick as many brains as you can along the journey, and then just have a fun, optimistic outlook on it, that it's not all, it is a struggle in any creative industry, will be, because you're not going the traditional way, or but then how fun is that you get to build a career doing something you love. So I guess, in terms of advice, stick to what you really believe and don't be too persuaded by what's happening around you and people saying you shouldn't do that, it's too hard, or the industry's going to be too hard to make money. It's just like, be happy. Do something you love.
Cool. And was your father's death when you were 7 quite instrumental in you feeling really passionate to do what you want in life?
Oh, probably. I think I wonder. I mean, I look back to that thinking my mother probably had a lot more to do with it when that happened. Mum was a primary school teacher and really positive, and her outlook on life in general is like, make a go of it. Just live your life. And probably that whole message is even stronger when you have something pivotal happen at a young age. You're a bit braver, really, that we're only here for a short time. Make it a good one.
Exactly. So just before we finish off, what do you think the 16-year-old Kathryn Wilson would think of who you are today? Would she be pretty proud?
Oh, that's a cool question. 16-year-old was into shoes, and I had a Volkswagen Beetle called Bugsy, a Californian Beetle. Boys, I did love shoes. So I think I feel proud of myself in the sense that I've built something that other people can really enjoy being part of.
Yep.
There's nothing better than knowing that the future or the legacy of your brand is going to be people that really love the story, they love the product.
Yeah.
You've kind of built something around, whether I'm here or not in 10 years' time, there's a really neat story to be told.
Yep.
And design-wise, hopefully we've affected a lot of people's lives in a good way,
Yep.
made women feel good about themselves.
Yep.
So yeah, I'd say
Yep.
hopefully I would have been proud.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's definitely a pretty cool thing you've done. So can you look down at camera to finish and tell us what are your wise words for the people of New Zealand?
Oh, well, I think just be fearless, and everything is really never as hard as you think it is. So take advice from others that have been there before you, and don't be afraid to just give it a go. What's the worst that can happen?
Cool.
And enjoy the ride.
Kathryn Wilson, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks
Cheers.
for having me.